My name is Anna DeSalvo. I am a time freedom coach. I help passionate, driven business owners reclaim control of their time so they can get back to the reason they started their business: freedom, flexibility, and fulfillment. I am here today with Michelle Rose. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Michelle.
Hi. So I have like a lot of different hats that I wear and a lot of different things that I do. Kind of my past life is I'm an exercise physiologist, also a nutrition coach. And I worked as a personal trainer for 10 years and I was extremely passionate about it. But then I had a baby and I was like, I don't really want to go and leave my baby all day anymore. I want to be home. And at that same time, I started into this whole like healing my body journey and I got into more of wellness. And so now I'm super passionate about helping support people in the wellness field. So I'm still working in like health and fitness, but I'm more in the wellness field. And it's really cool that my child has driven me into this, not only to be home, but also to heal my own body. And so what I do is I help people up level their health and get on top of any underlying health issue and balance and heal their body naturally through like really basic things: supplementation, mindset work, easy lifestyle changes, like different just little habits that we need to adjust. And yeah, so that's a little bit about, I help like the whole picture of health, fitness, wellness kind of stuff now.
Yeah, and I really wanted to talk to you for a couple of reasons. Number one, you really helped me early on. I was, you would put out a post that was like, "Who's dealing with anxiety right now?" And I'm like, okay, who isn't dealing with anxiety right now, right? And I definitely was. I've had a long history of anxiety, and you had a couple of solutions that were really quite helpful for me. And I think there's a lot of talk right now, with health and how to optimize it, and doing things that are within our control in order to make sure that we're operating at our best health function. And so, so I have a couple of questions for you. And the work that I do helps individuals sort of prioritize their health, and
Mhm.
prioritize things that are important in their, not just their health, but in their life. And their health might be one of those things. What do you notice about the difficulties in prioritizing this area of our life? And then, like, what can we do to overcome them?
So a lot of the times I feel like people aren't putting it as a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Like they literally just like slough it away. Or sometimes they just don't get how to do it or how easy it can be too. A lot of times it's like, it's going to cost a lot. It's going to be this big whole massive lifestyle thing. And they just get overwhelmed by it. But it's not. Like it's really, there are such simple things. Like sometimes it's literally, how much are you even drinking water? Like I always have this guy with me. People aren't drinking enough water. That's one of the easiest things that you can do is right. It's always with me everywhere I go. Our we're like 90% water. It's the number one thing our body's made of. So if we're not drinking enough water, right there. So I think a lot of it is just, and sometimes I also work with people where our joke kind of with some of my friends I work with is they haven't hit rock bottom yet.
Yeah.
And that, like what I was talking about with when I got started, when I had my daughter and I wanted to get out of like, I wasn't working a 9 to 5, but more of kind of the 9 to 5 idea
Mm-hmm.
was I hit my rock bottom with my health and no one knew it, but I had hit my rock bottom. And so that's when I jumped in. So sometimes, as horrible as it is, I can't help someone until they're ready to be helped, until that rock bottom happens. But sometimes you don't actually realize you're at rock bottom either. So it's a lot of it is just little things. Like right now, I'm doing this pantry clean out thing that's really fun where I'm teaching people how to read labels
Mm.
and buy the right foods. It's as simple as just making the right swaps. Like instead of using vegetable oil, let's use olive oil. Like that's a really simple thing. It's not hard, it's not difficult. Little things can accumulate over time and you just start one place and then you build on it.
I love how simple that is, because I think you're right. Overwhelm sets in when something seems so big that we can't, we can't imagine what life would be like without things being that way, whether or not it's that we're so busy, or, we have this health goal, or we think about it only in weight loss terms, and we don't think about all the other components that could build on each other to still achieve that goal, but not necessarily, not necessarily that's like what you're focused on. You're focused on making these small shifts, drinking, making sure you get enough water, making sure that, you're having the right things in your pantry to make it easy for you to focus on these things.
Right.
And that is really, I think the key is what are you going to do? Like not what like the ideal is, of course, you work towards that, but what physically are you able to do at this point in time, and then start there, right? I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. And I love that your solutions, which we'll talk about, like, are very simple. They're not something that's like, I know you're a big runner, but that it's not like you started that like one day and you started running, 20
I tell
miles.
people, like, you don't need to go run a marathon today,
Yeah.
just move your body. If that's yoga, if that's going for a walk. I had a friend the other day who's like, what about cleaning my house? I'm like, I break a sweat sometimes vacuuming and cleaning my bathtub. Like, when you get in there, yeah, I can count that.
I was walking up my stairs the other day, and I walk 2 to 3 miles a day, and I work out for 30 to 40 minutes a day. So, I mean, I'm fairly physically active, but I was walking up my stairs the other day and doing a story. I'm like, why am I winded right now? Like, I guess I need to be doing stairs some more, but that's a small thing that I can do, right? So what benefits do we get from optimizing and focusing on our health? Like particularly our immune function.
It's kind of endless, really. A lot of the big things of when you start focusing on prioritizing your health is your energy is going to be better and your mood's going to be better. Those are two of the biggest things that have such an effect on our entire being. And when your energy is up and when your mood's up, like, you're going to stop dealing with so much anxiety. A lot of us have dealt with just a ton of anxiety. I'm not immune to having anxiety issues. And so just of life these days, like, boosting your mood is going to reduce that anxiety and reduce that depression, and also is going to give you more energy too. And the same thing with your energy. When you have more energy, you're less likely to be drowned out by that depression and that anxiety and that kind of stuff. That also means your immune system is going to be up and functioning better as well. It's all like, literally your entire life can change. And that's what I love. Like, I help change lives and give people hope. And that is just like so incredibly empowering to me. That because I know what it's like to be in the dumps with my mood, like, big time, and to not be able to get off the couch because I cannot physically get off the couch. I am so exhausted mentally and physically and emotionally. And so when you're free of that, you have your life back. And there's no point. We have one shot at this, right? We have one life. God gave us one chance.
Yes.
And I don't want to spend it on the couch being miserable. And I don't think anybody really does. And so our health is literally our life, our one chance at life, and being able to live it properly.
Yeah, I love that. And especially the piece about like who doesn't need more energy, right? Or who doesn't need, less lashing out at your family members, especially, being in the house with a lot of people over the course of the last year, I think we've all seen where our buttons get pressed.
Oh, yeah. I've got kids.
Yeah, exactly. But being able to have that resilience, at least on a physiological level, and also, like you said, you work with mindset also with individuals, to just kind of be able to have more energy, have more patience for the people around us, feel less guilt. We don't have to lash out at anybody. And I think that really, I have the same like mindset around it too, that when I get into that space where I'm like highly anxious or I'm dealing with something that I don't have a lot of energy, like I get to a point, that rock bottom point, where I'm like, this isn't what life was supposed to be like. We're supposed to be in joy. We're supposed to be, spending time with our families, investing our time in living. And I think that making sure that we have that base level function of just enough energy, is motivation enough. So, we have seen a lot of fear and stress, or like you spoke to it, with anxiety over the past year. I mean, before that too, I mean, we were going quickly, right? We were fast, 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 fast. Last year, I think, caused a lot of people to slow down. I've spoke to a lot of women
Yes.
who have said that. But there's still a lot of unknowns, a lot of things that are going on in the world that we really can't control. And I'm curious, how you see this as an impact on our health, this long-term prolonged stress, as well as, how can that impact our immune system?
Yeah, there's a couple things there. With the impact of like fear and anxiety and stress and all of that, it raises our cortisol levels. And that immediately causes inflammation, essentially. And there's like three things that are incredibly important when it comes to our health, three like the underlying things that are most important. And one of those is inflammation, because when inflammation breeds disease. So when your body's in an inflammatory state, you are automatically setting yourself up for health issues. And that reduces your immune system. So stress, fear, anxiety, all of that is going to reduce your immune system's ability to function properly. The other one's gut health, and so kind of talking about like the anxiety and stuff, our gut is referred to as our second brain. 90% of our serotonin, which is our happy hormone, is produced in the gut.
Oh,
And so that's like your depression, your anxiety, it's your happy hormone. If you're not happy, guess what? You're going to be dealing with things like anxiety and depression. And so it's, making sure your gut is balanced and healthy is going to help with the anxiety piece, but also 70% of our immune system's there.
oh, wow.
So if we are not healthy and balanced in our gut, once again, our immune system is going to be lowered. So those are kind of two things. And then the other one's blood sugar, insulin resistance, underlying cause to literally every health issue that exists, including cancer. So those three things are so incredibly important to our health, to our immune system, to our energy, to our brain function, and our mood and that kind of stuff. I'm kind of forgetting what the exact question was. I'm going off on tangent.
No, you totally answered it. How do fear and stress impact our health and our immune system? So, that raises our cortisol levels, and then also,
Mm-hmm.
making and our inflammation, and also, we can combat that by, taking care of our gut health and ensuring that we're eating.
Right.
It sounds like making sure that we have the proper supplementation, which we'll talk about, and then also, eating good food.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe turning off the news a little bit.
We are what we eat. Yeah. The TV's not good for anything, really.
Yeah. I know. Okay, so what tools do you use in your work to help individuals like prioritize their health? I mean, I know that you've helped me a lot just with very, very basic things. And so tell us a little bit about what your solutions are for people.
So it's a lot, like I was kind of mentioning, like the water intake and eating right and that kind of stuff. So I do, I help coach on all of it, and the movement, just if you can move your body, so that produces endorphins, which it boosts your mood. Also, a lot of the time people look in the mirror and they degrade themselves. That's just what we do, right? We're our own worst critics. So when you work out a little bit more, you're more likely to be a little bit thinner, and then you're going to look in the mirror and think you're a little prettier. So there's just multiple parts to that. But I do also support with supplementation. And supplementation, a lot of people are like, I don't need supplements, blah, blah, blah. I eat healthy. It is shown that you can't eat everything that you need to fill in every single gap. You can have the most perfect diet and you will still be deficient in certain areas. And there's about 10 different vitamins and minerals that are like the most deficient, that the most likely to be deficient in. And like some people can eat really healthy and not be deficient in those, but you cannot get what you need from food anymore, unfortunately. And that's just because of the whole GMO and pollution and soil depletion and all these things that has happened with our food over the years. Doesn't contain what it needs to. So supplementation is essential to be the healthiest being that you can be. Also, I'm big on the blood sugar part, insulin resistance, making sure that you're balanced with your blood sugar is so incredibly important. Your mood's going to soar, your inflammation's going to go down, your gut's going to be better. It's all of it. And then just feeding that good, healthy gut, getting those good probiotics in. A big thing that I also see is Candida, which I'm going to talk about it super quick because it's almost everyone deals with it.
Right.
And it's such an unknown thing. I've actually sat with a doctor and talked to them, trying to like, hey, yeah, I used to deal with Candida. And he literally was like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Like about 80 to 90% of Americans have this and you don't know what it is. So it's a yeast overgrowth, and we're born with yeast because it decomposes our body when we die. So like my little babies have yeast, but it's a very low level. And when that we feed it with all of our carby, sugary food and our antibiotics and our birth control and our stress and our pollution, it just keeps breeding, and it essentially breaks down our body while we're still alive. And that leads to a lot of health issues. So I really like to support people in reducing that yeast overgrowth, getting rid of that Candida, because you can't have a healthy healed body when you have that Candida, unfortunately. And that really affects your gut, and that's going to affect your mood and your brain and your energy and your inflammation and all of that. So I really support through all of it, though. Getting your water, getting your healthy foods. Also, this is literally free timed eating.
Yeah.
When you eat, this is a big blood sugar thing where the the teaching for so many years has been wrong, where eating regularly helps balance your blood sugar. That's actually wrong. Like the constant grazing thing and the eating all the time elevates your blood sugar, because your body is constantly going to be producing, because you're constantly eating, and that's going to elevate your blood sugar. And so making sure that you have timed eating, and also give your body like at least 12 hours to not process food. So while you're sleeping overnight is really, really important for all of that.
I think that that's really, really important. I just actually started that, and I've been really resistant to it for a long time because I actually have a history of eating disorder, and I've been resistant to it for a long time. Yeah, but then I have done so much work over the years. I also had to kind of go back and be like, I know what the triggers are. I know, where things can get out of control, and if it gets to that point, then we don't do it. But trying it out, because I read so much research on inflammation and eating breakfast and what you eat for breakfast and that kind of thing. I'd done a lot of research on it. But your simple solutions helped me a lot, because just where I was, like, I just needed something small. And, the supplementation was one thing that I could do. It was just like one thing that I could do to get started. And then that led to, the next thing, and that led to the next thing. So it became sort of this snowball of positive changes, but it all just started with taking a supplement. You know what I mean? It was so small. And then, what was great about your work too is that, like, you noticed that I had like put off a shipment or something like that. And you had messaged me and you're like, hey, what's going on? You were very nice about it. But, and I teach this stuff, but still it is so helpful to have an outside person who is just like, hey, how can you make this easy for yourself? And I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Like, go back to what I know, put it out every single day, and ever since then I haven't had a problem with it. So I can personally attest to, your coaching skills in terms of simplicity and just making small changes, and how those kind of snowball into a bigger effect. Michelle, how can people get in touch with you if they're like, I need somebody to help me with simple goal setting and simple prioritization of health and simple solutions for gut health and reducing inflammation and maximizing our immune system?
They can just reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I'm easy to find. Well, I might not be. My last name is very common, and everyone actually thinks it's my middle name.
Oh, they do.
It's my last name. But yeah, I'll get linked onto this, and they're welcome to just reach out to me on here, and I can help them get started with simple steps to improve their health and wellness.
Awesome. And I'll link all your stuff in the section of this, in the information section of this video. Thank you so much today for chatting. I appreciate you, and look forward to our next chat.
Thank you. I appreciate you, friend.